I didn't walk into the company party planning to ruin anyone's evening. I planned to ruin only mine and get it over with. My wife and I work at the same company, just in different departments. She's in marketing, all charm and spotlight, while I'm the quiet analyst crunching numbers in the background. It was the end of quarter celebration, the kind where HR says casual cocktail, and everyone hears free drinks, free gossip. My wife, Hannah, was already there, helping Michael with the deck. Michael is her boss. Michael is also the kind of man who calls PowerPoint slides the deck, and himself a people leader. His jawline has its own parking spot. A week before the event, Hannah asked, "You don't mind if I go early, right? We need to fine-tune the transitions." "Do you mean the fade-ins or the emotional ones?" I said. She smiled like I was cute but slow. "Don't be weird. It's a big night for our team." "Cool. I'll tune my transitions at home, between the couch and the fridge." "Be social for once," she said, already grabbing her keys. "It would be nice." Define nice. Not making it about you. "Copy that, teammate." "That was our dynamic lately." She asked. I joked. She left. I stayed. Like a nice houseplant, but with opinions no one waters. I showed up an hour late on purpose, so I could pretend I loved everyone but just missed the parts where I had to prove it. The ballroom was one of those hotel spaces with carpets designed by someone who hates eyes. There were high tables, cheese cubes, and executives who say, work hard, play hard, but delegate both parts. Hannah was in the middle of everything. New haircut, bright dress, a laugh that carried over the music. She looked like success in heels. I love my wife. I also hate when I feel like I'm watching a commercial I didn't pay for. Michael floated 2 steps behind her, nodding like he invented nodding. He wore the exact amount of cologne that says, "I do stairs at lunch." He greeted me with that 2-handed shake politicians use when they want your vote and your wallet. "Ian," he said, "so glad you made it. Hannah crushed it this quarter." "She crushes a lot of things," I said. "Mostly my hope to leave early." Michael laughed a fraction too long, like he had to file the laugh form in triplicate. "You're a funny guy." That's what they say at my performance reviews. It's not written down, but I feel it. Hannah slid beside me. "Play nice." "I'm playing. I'm nice. I'm noise." "Stop," she whispered, smiling for someone else across the room. It was fine for a while. I nursed a beer and rotated in a small orbit around a table of toothpicks. Colleagues did colleague things. The sales guy bragged about crushing pipeline. The finance girl said she loves constraints. A product manager tried to roadmap a conversation and failed. Everyone had the same laugh when the VP walked by, like a ringtone of fear. Then came the speeches. The VP thanked the cross-functional partnership, which means we did the work, and he took the credit to a nicer building. Michael took the mic and did that slow, humble voice men use when they're about to talk about themselves for 10 minutes. "And one person," he said, "deserves a special shout-out. Hannah." Cue applause. She looked surprised the way actors look surprised when they know the camera's on them. She's relentless, creative, and, he paused to smile, inspiring. Applause again. He handed her the mic. She didn't hesitate. "Thank you," she said. "This quarter was brutal. I lived in PowerPoint and bad coffee, but Michael made it survivable. He's been my mentor, and honestly, a little more than that." The room laughed. Not a polite laugh, a relieved one. Like, phew, we can all be messy together. I didn't laugh. Michael didn't look at me. Hannah did, briefly, like a driver checking a blind spot. She kept going. When everything felt impossible, he made time. When I doubted myself, he pushed me. He saw me. She raised her glass at Michael. He raised his at her. People clapped. I felt my stomach do that slow elevator drop it does when you realize the floor is made of glass and you are the entertainment. I could have let it slide. I could have decided it was just edgy corporate humor. The problem wasn't the line, it was the tone. She said it like a fact wrapped in a joke, which is how people say the truest things. I walked to the mic before my brain could file an HR ticket. "Hey, quick one," I said. "Love the teamwork, big fan of deliverables, just wanted to raise a glass to clear communication." People cheered reflexively. "It's a corporate instinct." Someone says, "Communication." You clap like Pavlov got a grant. "Hannah, thanks for thanking Michael," I said. "Michael, thanks for mentoring my wife so thoroughly. I can see the thoroughness from here." A few laughs, a few coughs. "And since we're all about being more than that, I just want to confirm the org chart changes. If Michael's taking lead on Hannah's after-hours development, I'll step out of the project." The room went quiet in that special way only carpeted rooms can. Hannah looked like she'd swallowed a cube of dry ice. Michael reached for a smile and found a grimace on sale. I took off my event badge, the one with my name in big, friendly letters, and set it on the table in front of them. "You two have a great sprint," I said. "I'm rolling off." I walked out. No storming, no dramatic glass throw. Just the steady pace of a man who remembered where he parked and finally respected himself enough to go there. In the hallway, a junior developer I barely knew whispered, "Damn," like he'd just watched a magician pull a divorce out of a hat. My phone started buzzing before the elevator doors closed. "Hannah, where are you going?" "Ian, answer me." That was a joke. Everyone knew it was a joke. Me. Everyone except the punchline. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. It kept buzzing anyway, because iPhones know when drama is premium content. I drove to my brother's apartment. Ben opened the door like he'd been expecting a package marked Fragile Man. "You look like you just unsubscribed from a cult," he said. "Close," I said. "I left a networking event." "Wow. And they always say you don't know your own strength." He handed me a beer, the universal older brother therapy starter pack. We sat on his faded couch. The game was on, muted. Basketball players moved like someone forgot to turn on physics. "Talk," he said. "They toasted each other," I said. "She called him more than a mentor." The room laughed. I didn't. Ben nodded slowly. "So you left?" "I also resigned from my unpaid role as her husband's public relations team." "Good. PR burns you out." "She's going to say it was a joke." "It was. Not to her." "Right." He clinked his beer to mine. "Welcome back to the land of men who can sleep." My phone kept buzzing on the coffee table. Hannah called, then texted. Then Michael texted, which was a bold move, like emailing the husband of the person you just mentored to say you support his growth. I didn't open it. We watched the second half in silence. Ben has a gift. He knows when to say nothing and when to roast me until I laugh against my will. Tonight, he chose nothing, with small, sarcastic breaks. At midnight, I crashed on his couch. Hannah's name lit my screen one last time. I turned the phone face down and stared at the ceiling. My chest felt weirdly light. Not happy, not free, just done. Morning smelled like burnt toast, which is how Ben says, "I care." "You should swing by your place while she's at work," he said. "Grab what you need before she schedules a meeting about your feelings." "Good idea," I said. "She leaves by 7:30. I drove to our apartment at 7:50. Her car was gone. Inside, the place looked exactly like a party that had tried to be a career move. A trail of lanyards. Someone left a jacket over a chair that wasn't theirs. I went straight to the bedroom and started packing. Clothes, toiletries, passport, laptop, the hoodie she always stole. On her desk, her work laptop was open. The screen was black, but the keyboard still warm. I didn't plan to snoop. Then I remembered the speech. Then I planned to snoop. Slack was open. Their channel wasn't called Secret Love or anything stupid. Just a DM, "Michael, Hannah." I scrolled. "Michael, you destroyed it today. Couldn't stop watching you present." "Hannah, stop. You'll make me blush at my desk." "Michael, blushing is cross-functional." "Hannah, is that on the deck?" "Michael, slide 69? Sorry, couldn't resist." "Hannah, you're impossible." "Michael, you love that." "Hannah, I like being seen." "Michael, I see too much." It wasn't explicit, it was worse. It was all the in-between. Late-night messages about imposter syndrome, emojis that never appear in actual performance reviews, calendar invites named Quick Sync scheduled at 9:30 p.m. If HR ever read it, they'd call it inappropriate tone and send them to a class where someone in a blazer says boundaries until the projector cries. Further down, the week of the party. Michael: big night. Want to practice the thank yous? Hannah: Lowell, what, like a toast? Michael: maybe. You deserve one. Hannah: if I say you're more than my mentor, the wives will kill me. Michael: the husbands will kill me. Hannah: one will. He hates this stuff. Michael: he'll laugh it off. He seems chill. I took a screenshot. My hands shook the way they do when you finally admit something you've already known. I kept going. Texts from a different thread. Same energy. Michael: coffee before stand-up? Hannah: if you promise not to fix me again. Michael: I prefer make you better. Hannah: careful, you're making me sound unprofessional. Michael: only to me. I took more screenshots. Then I stopped because it felt like drinking ocean water. The more you take in, the worse you get. I packed my bag and left. On the way out, I dropped my keys in the bowl by the door, then picked them back up because I'm not a poet. I still needed to return my library books. Ben was at work. I sat on his couch and stared at the silence. Around noon, my phone lit up with a call from an unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Then another call, same number. I picked up. Hi, Ian? It's Melissa, from marketing. I tried to place the face. Tall bangs that say, I own 3 scented candles. What's up, Melissa from marketing? I shouldn't call, she said, which is what people say right before they do the thing. But I feel bad about last night. What about last night? The toast thing. It wasn't spontaneous. I'm shocked, I said. I thought improv night at the Marriott went great. They talked about it, she said, lowering her voice like the phone cared. Michael said it would be cute. Hannah said you'd roll your eyes and move on. It was supposed to be light. It got heavy. Light is telling the DJ to skip Ed Sheeran, I said. Heavy is using your marriage as stage dressing. I know, she said. I'm sorry. I wanted you to know she knew. She knew, I repeated, like a line in a play I didn't audition for. After we hung up, I called a lawyer. I didn't have a lawyer. I had Google. I chose the first one who had a website that didn't look like it was built by a cousin. Consultation? The receptionist asked. Filing, I said. The word surprised even me, but it felt like the first adult sentence I'd said in weeks. Hannah texted an hour later after she realized my phone wasn't going to answer itself. Hannah: we need to talk. Me: we did, in front of 200 witnesses. Hannah: you're being dramatic. Me: thanks, I learned from the best. She knew, I repeated, like a line in a play I didn't audition for. Hannah: it was a joke. Everyone laughed. Me: everyone who wasn't married to you. She called. I didn't pick up. She called again. I set my phone to silent, dropped it in a kitchen drawer like a small angry pet, and made pasta I didn't want. Ben came home, sniffed the air and said, the scent of righteous carbohydrates. Filed, I said. He whistled. Fast worker. I'm done doing slow things for people who rush to the wrong places. We ate on the couch. He watched the highlights. I rewrote my life in bullet points. Find a new apartment, split the accounts, cancel the streaming service she swore she needed but never used. At 10 p.m., the drawer vibrated like a trapped bug. I opened it. New text. Not from Hannah. Michael: hey Ian, this is Michael. I think we should talk man to man. I value. I deleted it. Then I blocked him because if I wanted a leadership lesson, I'd watch a TED Talk and not sleep for 3 nights. I slept better than I expected. Morning came with that crisp feeling of a decision that fits. Not happy but aligned, like shoes finally tied. At 7:45 a.m. I was back at the apartment to grab the last round of things. The place smelled like perfume and stale celebration. In the bedroom, I picked up a box of old photos. Us at the state fair. Us at the beach. Us pretending not to fight at Thanksgiving. I put the box back. It could live there. I didn't need the version of me that smiled through warnings. Hannah's tablet was on the nightstand glowing with a row of notifications. I didn't touch it. I didn't need more screenshots. I had enough to build a museum no one should visit. On my way out, I left my copy of the house key on the counter. I paused. Then I took a sticky note, wrote, "Good luck with your deck," and stuck it next to the key. Petty? Absolutely. Necessary? Also yes. Back at Ben's, he held up 2 mugs. "Coffee or coffee?" "Coffee," I said. He handed it over. "What now?" "Now I wait for paperwork," I said. And I stop rehearsing conversations with people who already said the quiet part loud. Ben nodded. "And you do laundry because this couch smells like your feelings." On it. By lunchtime, my phone buzzed with a new number. I almost let it ring out of habit, then answered in a moment of curiosity I immediately regretted. "Hello?" A beat. Then Hannah's voice, steady but thin. "You blocked me." "Correct. I borrowed Melissa's phone." "Congratulations on leveraging cross-team resources." She exhaled hard. "We need to talk in person. You had a microphone and a captive audience. Use the company podcast." "It wasn't like that," she said. "It was a dumb line." "No," I said. "A dumb line is calling My Chemical Romance classic rock. What you did was a choice." Silence took a chair. When she spoke again, her voice had that practiced softness I used to melt for. "You don't see me anymore, Ian. Michael does. He believes in me." "I believe in you," I said. "I just don't believe in the way you keep proving me wrong." "I didn't sleep with him," she said quickly, like it was a coupon that would expire if not redeemed in the next 5 seconds. "That's not the flex you think it is." "So this is it? You're throwing away our marriage over a joke?" "I'm ending a marriage that's been throwing me away in slow motion. You're cruel. I'm clear." She hung up before I could say anything I might replay later. I put the phone down and looked at Ben. He raised an eyebrow. "Progress?" "She borrowed a phone to tell me I don't see her." He nodded. "Irony's free this quarter." That night, while Ben watched another game, I pulled up my bank statements. February 14th. Flowers, dinner reservation. Same day, coffee charge 2 hours earlier, downtown cafe near their office. March, lunch charges during late meetings. April, 3 mid-afternoon coffee spots I'd never heard of. Calendar invites named Sync, receipts named Connection. I built a little spreadsheet because that's what I do when the world feels loud. I count. The phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I didn't feel like answering kindness, but I was still weak for curiosity. "Hey," a man's voice said. "It's Jordan, from Ops." Look, I wanted to tell you. Michael's been like this for years, always a mentee. The whole mentoring thing it's his move." "Cool," I said. "I love a move." "He told a few of us the toast would be funny. Said you'd take it like a champ. He said—" Jordan stopped. "He said you were low ego." "I am," I said. "Just not no ego. Anyway, I respect what you did. Most guys would have punched him. HR would have loved that. You just left. That was colder." "Thanks, I guess," I said. "If you ever want a referral to a different team, I got you," he said, then hung up like a man who had done his good deed for the day and didn't want a receipt. I stared at the wall, then at my list, then at the door, then at myself, faint in the TV's black glass. I didn't look ruined. I looked like someone who just took off a heavy coat and finally felt his shoulders again. Ben turned up the volume. "You okay?" "I think so," I said. "I think I just deleted a file that kept corrupting the hard drive." "Look at you," he said. "A metaphor that doesn't make me roll my eyes." "I'm growing." "Not with Michael," he said. We both laughed. It felt easy for the first time in a while. At midnight, a final text landed from Hannah's actual number. She must have borrowed someone's laptop, or HR taught her a new trick. "Hannah, I get it. You're angry, but we can do counseling." Me, "I'm not angry, I'm accurate." "Hannah, please, one session." Me, Use it with your mentor. Ask him how to fix morale. I set the phone down gently like it was sleeping. I went to brush my teeth. In the mirror, I looked like a man who finally believed himself. It wasn't exciting, it wasn't loud, it was mine. Tomorrow I'd collect the last things, sign the first forms, and find a small place where no one would clap for the wrong reasons. I would not give speeches. I would not be the punchline. I would learn to toast to my own company without asking permission. But before that, I decided to make one more move for the new romantic couple. By Monday morning, I decided I was done being the quiet husband who just disappears. I didn't want revenge, I wanted paperwork. So, I opened the company portal, scrolled past mental wellness resources, and clicked Report Workplace Misconduct. It felt oddly therapeutic. The form asked, "What's the nature of your concern?" I typed, "Inappropriate relationship between manager, Michael Reeder, and subordinate, Hannah Cooper. Excessive personal messaging, after-hour meetings disguised as syncs, and sexualized jokes in written form." Then I attached the screenshots. All of them. Every slide 69, and you love that. I even renamed the files professionally. Evidence 1, Evidence 2, Evidence 3. If I was about to blow up my life, at least it would look organized. At the bottom was a box. "Would you like to remain anonymous?" I laughed and typed my full name in caps. If I was burning a bridge, I wanted everyone to see who lit the match. I hit submit. The little loading circle spun like it was asking, "You sure about this?" Then the message popped up. "Thank you. HR will contact you shortly." Perfect. Ben came into the kitchen right as I poured coffee. "You look suspiciously calm," he said. "What did you do?" "Filed a report." "Against her or him?" "Both." He blinked. "You nuked them?" "I prefer professional audit." He grinned. "What did you write?" That Michael's leadership extended beyond acceptable boundaries. That Hannah's professional growth included late-night extracurriculars. Ben almost spit his coffee. "You actually said extracurriculars?" "Bullet points, too." He nodded like a proud coach. "You're evolving from husband to headline." At noon, HR emailed me. "Hi, Ian. We'd like to schedule a confidential meeting regarding your report. Please confirm availability this week." I replied immediately, "Anytime after 2 p.m. I'm flexible, like Michael's ethics. They didn't reply to that part. 2 days later, I was sitting in a conference room that smelled like Lysol and quiet panic. Across the table sat Deborah, HR director, kind eyes, neutral sweater, expression that could survive a nuclear scandal. "Thank you for coming in," she said softly. "I understand this is difficult." "Not really," I said. The difficult part was pretending I didn't see it. She gave that HR smile, empathetic, rehearsed, legally safe. "Let's review the materials you sent." I handed her a folder. I color-coded them by sin. She opened it, paused at slide 69, and exhaled through her nose. "I see. It's impressive, right? Corporate flirting that doubles as performance metrics." Deborah didn't laugh. HR people never laugh. They document. "Thank you, Ian. We'll investigate this discreetly." "I'm sure you will. Discretion's been their specialty." "Are you comfortable continuing your employment during the investigation?" "Oh, I already quit," I said. "I'm just here for the popcorn." That night, Hannah texted, "Hannah, did you seriously report us to HR?" Me. "I reported him. You were collateral damage." Hannah. "You're going to ruin both our careers." Me. "No, you handled that part beautifully." Hannah. "You're unbelievable." Me. "That line seems to travel well between you two." 3 days later, my former teammate Jordan texted me, "Dude, HR just pulled Michael's laptop." "Good," I wrote back. "Maybe they'll find his humility in there." Hannah's been crying in the wellness room all day. "Tell her hydration is important. Tears cause sodium loss." He sent a laughing emoji. Then another message. "People are actually proud of you. Everyone wanted to, but nobody had the guts." I didn't feel proud, just balanced. Like gravity had finally been restored. A week later, Deborah emailed me again. Following our investigation, HR has confirmed that inappropriate communication occurred between Michael Reeder and Hannah Cooper. Michael's employment is terminated effective immediately. Hannah Cooper will receive a written warning and mandatory ethics training. I laughed so hard, my coffee almost filed its own complaint. Ethics training. Of course. Imagine cheating on your husband and your punishment is watching a PowerPoint about boundaries in the workplace. I forwarded the email to Ben with one line. HR is my new therapist. He replied, "Does your therapist send PDFs too?" That evening, Hannah showed up at Ben's apartment. No call, no warning, just the sound of expensive heels on cheap linoleum. Ben opened the door, saw her, looked at me, and said, "Oh, this episode's gonna be good," then walked off with his chips. She stood there in the doorway. Puffy eyes, hair tied carelessly, holding her bag like it was full of apologies. "Can we talk?" she asked. "Without a mic this time?" "Don't be cruel." "I'm not. Cruel would involve background music." She exhaled. HR fired Michael. "I know," I said. "Justice moves fast when you've got screenshots." "You didn't have to. You could have come to me." "I did," I said, "for 5 years. You just kept scheduling someone else." "It was just a joke that went wrong." "Right. Professional development, just with candlelight." She frowned. "I didn't mean for it to happen." "People never do. They just add it to the calendar." Her voice broke. "I lost everything." "No," I said. "You lost the person who used to cover for you. Now you just have to live with the truth." She looked at me for a long time, not angry, not even sad, just hollow. Then she nodded, turned, and left. The sound of her heels faded like the end credits of a bad show finally canceled. Ben came back into the room chewing chips. "Do I say attaboy or too soon?" "Neither. Pass the salsa." We watched the game. No more drama. No phone buzzing, no fake apologies, no HR forms. Just silence. Clean, earned silence. For the first time in months, I didn't feel broken. I just felt done. Done trying to be reasonable in a story that stopped making sense long ago. Done explaining myself to people who never listened. Done being the quiet one in a noisy lie. When the game ended, Ben said, "So, what now?" "I get my own place," I said. "And maybe buy a grill. It's cheaper than therapy." He grinned. "And safer than mentorship." We both laughed. That night I slept like a man who'd finally signed off. A week after that night, I finally got an email from my lawyer. The subject line said, "Cooper versus Cooper. Divorce filing draft." Nothing like seeing your own last name fight itself to really start your morning right. I opened it while stirring coffee that had gone cold halfway through reading Petitioner. The email was short and cold. Division of assets, no kids, irreconcilable differences. It even sounded bored. I added a note. Add emotional fraud as a subclause if that's a thing. The lawyer replied 3 minutes later. "It's not, but it should be. I already liked the guy." Later that day, Jordan from the office texted again. "Dude, you're trending in the company's Slack." "That's one way to get visibility," I said. "Someone called you the HR Avenger." "Cool title. I want business cards." "Hannah's telling people you overreacted. She's playing the victim angle." "Ah, rebranding, same product, new slogan." "Seriously, though, people know the truth. Reader got roasted. You just said what everyone else was thinking." "Good to know. I'll add public service to my resume." After Reader's firing, Hannah decided to stay in the company, for now, and gave a carefully crafted internal statement that I was emotionally unstable after personal issues, which is corporate for, "My husband didn't laugh at my affair. HR didn't buy it, but gossip doesn't need evidence." I became the quiet legend, the guy who nuked his cheating wife's career with one email and still managed to sound polite in the process. A few days later, my lawyer called. "She hasn't signed yet," he said. "Why not?" "She's requesting mediation." Tell her to mediate with her conscience. She says she wants to talk things through. She can talk to the mirror. It listens better than I do." He chuckled softly. "You're taking this better than most." I stopped trying to win. I said, "I just want out. I'll set up the meeting anyway. It makes the process cleaner." "Fine. But if she starts talking about self-discovery, I'm gone." The mediation meeting was in one of those neutral offices with fake plants, bad coffee, and a smell of regret. Hannah sat across from me in a beige blazer, looking like she'd just finished a seminar titled, "How to Appear Innocent After HR Investigations." Her lawyer looked like a man who gets paid per sigh. "Ian," she started gently, "I didn't come here to fight." "Then why bring a lawyer?" "It's procedure." "So was our marriage. Didn't stop you from improvising." She frowned. "I made a mistake. Multiple choice, recurring, with attachments. You think you're funny. Only compared to your judgment." Her lawyer raised his hand. "Let's stay civil. We're here to find common ground." "Common ground?" I said. "We had that once. It was called our marriage bed." She outsourced it emotionally. The lawyer coughed into his papers. Hannah's face tightened. "You're enjoying this," she hissed. "I'm surviving this," I said. "Enjoyment's above my pay grade." Eventually, we agreed on the basics. She keeps the apartment, I take the car. We split the savings. She asked if I wanted any furniture. "No thanks," I said. "Everything there smells like his cologne or your guilt." Her lawyer froze, pretending to check something on his notes. She looked like she wanted to argue, but didn't. After the meeting, I went straight to a cafe I used to like before life turned into a soap opera. Same corner table, same bitter coffee, same peace. A message from Jordan popped up. "FYI, HR sent an all-staff memo about workplace conduct today. Starts with, 'Even jokes can cross boundaries.'" "So I inspired policy reform?" I wrote back. "Add that to my legacy." "People are split," he said. "Some say you humiliated her, others say you exposed a toxic culture." "Funny," I replied. "She did both. I just had better timing." The next day, Hannah called from a new number. I ignored it. Then came a voicemail. "Ian, I don't know how to undo all this. I keep thinking about you. I wish you hadn't given up on us." I listened once, then deleted it. Not out of anger, just to stop history from echoing. 2 weeks later, Jordan texted again. Reader tried to appeal his firing. HR showed him your screenshots. He dropped it. PowerPoint finally taught him accountability, I wrote back. By then, I'd signed the final papers. My lawyer called it an efficient divorce. I called it finally hitting save and exiting the file. When he asked if I wanted future contact arrangements, I said, "Same as before. She talks, I don't listen." Months passed quietly. I moved into a small apartment downtown, started cooking again, and got a cat. I named him HR, because he doesn't care what you say, just watches silently and judges your life choices. One afternoon, while getting coffee, I ran into Melissa from marketing. She smiled awkwardly. "Hey, long time?" "Yeah." "How's the circus?" "Different ringmaster now," she said. "New director's strict. Nobody flirts near the coffee machine anymore." "Good," I said. "I'd hate to think my marriage collapsed for nothing." She hesitated. "Hannah left the company last week, said she needed a fresh start." "Good for her." She looked lost. I smiled. She finally got what she wanted. Freedom. It just costs more than she expected. That night I got one last email from her. The subject line said, "I owe you the truth." The message was short. "You were right. I thought I was in control, but I wasn't. I thought I wanted admiration, but I just wanted to be seen. I'm sorry for making you invisible in the process." I read it twice, then hit archive. Not delete, just out of sight. Because that's where the past belongs. The next morning, I stood on my balcony with coffee, watching the city wake up. People rushing to meetings, chasing promotions, pretending their lives were urgent. I used to be one of them. I smiled. Not anymore. I didn't become wiser or stronger after everything, just quieter. And in a world that never shuts up, that's more than enough. If you felt this story hit hard, drop a like, subscribe for more, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support keeps Steelheart beating.